You and your sock puppet account have persuaded me that I'm wrong. I do think we need government, and here's why. First, one day some really bad people could conspire and end up creating, perhaps even by accident, a new virus, and it could get out and infect the world. And without government to provide oversight, they'd get away with it. These same people could lie and say they had nothing to do with it, even if we have 100% proof they did, and just keep saying they didn't do it. And without government, well, they'd get away with it. Then these same people could realize certain very inexpensive drugs are valid treatments for this virus they created, but wanting to sell us more expensive drugs, they could say they don't work. Even when doctors show they work, they could just threaten the doctors and shut them up. And without government, they'd get away with it. They could even perhaps make people all around the world live for years, having to cover their faces with a mask just to go outside. And if anybody didn't do it, send armed people to make them. And without government, they would get away with it. And your river concerns, that got me thinking. Maybe they would say we can't even go to the ocean and swim or walk on the beach. And if we tried, they would send armed thugs to stop us. And without government oversight, they'd get away with it. They could then come up with very expensive drugs, some that don't even work, and force sick people to use them while forcing well people to pay for them. And without government oversight, they'd get away with it. They might even have buddies with big businesses who don't like competing with pesky small ones, so they could say, shut down the global economy, especially the small businesses, until they went out of business, causing the largest transfer of global wealth in our history. And without government to provide oversight, they'd get away with it. Then they could come up with a vaccine for an illness that they caused. It might even kill lots of people, cause even top athletes to have heart attacks in the prime of their health, right on front of people and live TV. It might even give myocarditis to children who were never at risk of the illness, and on top of that, not work at all once the virus mutates. Then say, since it doesn't work, you just need 3 more shots of the same shot that didn't work in the first place. And without government to provide oversight, they'd get away with it. Then if people don't get the shots, they could prevent them from traveling, shopping, working, going to school unless they complied. Then make them carry proof that they complied. And without government to provide oversight, they'd get away with it. They could do this almost every place in the world all at once. And without government to provide oversight, they'd get away with it. Then, when it all came to an inevitable end, they could pretend they saved us, ask us to just forget that it happened, then start working on a new scheme, say, resurrecting the fear of AIDS. Have some rich people in England say everyone needs to get tested for AIDS, and our global duty to kick it all off. Start the entire scam over again, all enforced by armed groups, and without government to provide oversight, they'd get away with it. God, can you imagine if that happened? You've sold me. I'm quitting anarchy right now and getting my voter registration card.